So, one of the most important aspects of having healthy relationships is understanding boundaries. And boundaries can look like, and from my experience, what I have learned and been learning and continue to learn is the difference between being connected and enmeshed. So, when I say enmeshed, I mean not having proper boundaries, confusing other people's feelings as yours or other people's experiences as yours, taking on opinions that might not be yours, and in general, just kind of assuming the identity that I am you, you are me, we are one. And there is a general oneness to humanity without a doubt for certain, but we're still our own people, and being in relationship with others does not mean that we suddenly lose our uniqueness. We lose our experience, our perspective, and what makes us us. And so often, what can happen in relationships, especially intimate ones, is that sometimes we can lose that. And that can be for a number of reasons. But in this topic today, we're going to focus on really understanding the difference between being interconnected and connected with others versus being enmeshed, and why being in relationship with people and having a sense of connection is not the same as having to be enmeshed and entangled with them. So we can honor our differences, and we can still be very close and be intimate, in intimate partnership, intimate collaboration, intimate relationship with those that we have in our life. So if you are new to tapping, you can go ahead and check out some of my earlier videos where I explain to you why we are tapping on our face and what that is doing. But in general, we are using different meridian points in our body to release stress and to reprogram what you might call negative for a more positive experience, reducing our stress, reducing our cortisol levels, using the traditional meridian system based in Chinese acupressure. So again, you can check out some of my earlier videos where I explain to you what's happening. But for now, you can just follow along. You can repeat what I'm saying using the tapping points. Keep your eyes open if you're new to it. So you can see where I'm tapping. And if what I'm saying doesn't resonate, please use the words that do. Tapping is best. And I always say this when it's your unique voice, your unique experience, your unique perspective. So with that said, maybe just take a moment, close your eyes, and think about an experience, maybe a relationship, where you feel connected with the person, interconnected, but maybe there's a sense of, I don't know what's mine, what's yours, or you maybe even have a fear of expressing differences. Maybe you have a fear, it doesn't feel safe for you to be in relationship and to have a different experience than the other and feel safe enough to express that and still feel connected. So if that resonates for you at all, you can think of a situation or just think about the feeling in general. And go ahead and rate that intensity, maybe sense where you feel it in your body. If there's an experience, just notice, is there a sensation in the body where you might feel this right now? And go ahead and rate that on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being not really that intense, I don't feel it, 10 being like this is through the roof. And then we're gonna go ahead and start tapping on the side of the hand, and you can go ahead and repeat after me. Even though it doesn't always feel safe for me to express differences in my relationship, I honor my experience and all the emotions that I have. And I'm open and willing to love myself exactly as I am. Even though sometimes it doesn't always feel safe for me to feel my uniqueness and my differences within my relationships, I honor my emotions, I honor my experience, and I'm open to loving myself exactly as I am. And last time on the side of the hand, even though I want to feel connected in my relationships, but I also want to feel like myself. And it doesn't always feel safe to do so. Sometimes I don't have boundaries. Sometimes it's difficult for me to express myself. And I honor all of my experiences, all of my emotions. And I'm open to reprogramming how I feel about this today. And go ahead and start tapping on that eyebrow point. I want healthy relationships. But it doesn't always feel safe to have them. Sometimes it feels very scary for me to express how I really feel. And when I'm in intimate relationships with others, sometimes I don't know what's mine and what's theirs. And sometimes I feel like I can lose myself in the relationship. Because maybe I have experiences from my past or my present where expressing my differences did not feel safe. And so I learned that being close and being connected with others meant being agreeable. It meant sacrificing how I felt and my experiences because I was afraid that I would lose the connection if I expressed those differences. And so I learned to suppress myself. Maybe I learned to take on opinions that were not mine. And maybe I learned that my experience or my opinions were not valid. And maybe when I did that, I learned to suppress my voice in other ways. So sometimes it might seem like I have these close relationships, these close partnerships, but there's a part of me that doesn't feel like it's completely seen or heard. That maybe people don't know the real me. Because it hasn't always felt safe to do so. And go ahead now and just tap here, and just if there's any experiences or any memories that you have where perhaps this was true, where you did try to express yourself, you did try to express differences, or maybe it's something that you see in the news or on social media, people trying to express their differences, say their perspective, and they get there's a clap back. There is a swift non-acceptance of that. So just noticing what's happening in your body, always staying in your body, seeing if there's any emotions coming through, any thoughts. And go ahead and move to that eyebrow point. And just repeat after me, even though I may have had these experiences where I have had to hide a piece of myself in order to feel close to others, I give a voice to this fear, maybe to this panic. And I have a lot of compassion for myself. Because if I've had any sort of negative experiences or painful experiences from my past, they might be filtering my present and possibly my future. But that doesn't have to stay true. I can begin to honor my experiences, as painful as they may have been. I give a voice to any stress, any pain in my body around this. And I'm open to understanding a new truth. that being in connection with others does not mean being entangled with others. It does not mean I lose my boundaries or my sense of self. It does not mean that I have to agree with everything that person or that group or whoever I'm in a relationship with thinks or says. And it does not necessarily mean that expressing my truth and my differences means losing the relationship. And maybe I've had experiences in the past where that has been the case. And those relationships were not meant to be there for the long run anyways. So I can honor any pain that caused me and take any lessons that I learned from it. And I can also release it. Because my past does not have to dictate my present or my future. And maybe I can start to settle into the truth that it is safe for me to express myself. It is safe for me to say what feels true to me. Of course, in ways that are respectful to myself and others. But understanding that when I choose to suppress myself or hide a piece of myself, it hurts me. And it's not really creating the depth of connection that I think it is. It's an illusion of safety that is not true and maybe not the most supportive for me or the relationship itself. So I'm choosing to create that internal safety within myself, that it's safe for me to have my own experiences, my own opinions, my own thoughts. And maybe they are the same as others I'm in relationship with. And maybe not. And that's okay. Maybe those differences and honoring those differences creates real intimacy because it's not based on enmeshment. Because the truth is, when we hide a piece of ourselves, we're kind of lying to other people about who we are. So maybe they think we're one way, but the truth is we're not. So I'm just showing myself a lot of compassion, and I'm creating a lot of space in my nervous system to understand that my differences are okay, others' differences are okay. It doesn't necessarily mean that the relationship is going to crumble. And if it does, well, it wasn't meant to be here in the long run in the first place. So I'm reprogramming myself for safety so I can stand powerfully in my truth and create deeper connections while I do so. And I love that for me. So you can go ahead and stop tapping and take a deep breath in and release. And notice what you feel. Notice where you might feel it in the body. Notice if that initial number went up or if it went down. It's not good or bad. It's just an indication of energy moving. So if you feel like it went up, there's just perhaps more of that to work through, more of that to tap through. If any memories came up for you or anything that kept repeating itself during the round, you can do this video again, or you can do your own tapping around it and get a little bit deeper around that specific situation. If it feels too big, if it feels like it's too triggering, highly recommend finding and reaching out to an EFT practitioner or some other mental health professional to help guide you through those stickier and tougher situations. You can always access my resources on my website, biancagabrielle.com. And I'm also happy to recommend other people and other resources. So happy tapping, and go express yourself. Be different and watch what happens. I promise you, it's not as scary as it seems.